Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode 69 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waite, down south here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, and the dude on the other side of the screen and in your other ear. If you're listening in your car, in your headphones, I don't know, in your truck while you're truck driving, all that sort of stuff. It's Cam Blake in Hobart, Tasmania. Hello, Cameron.
G'day, Brendan. So episode 69 and you're down south. I like it.
Yeah,
so it's gonna be a good episode.
It writes itself, doesn't it? That's ridiculous.
I wonder if we got any truck driver listeners.
I bet you we have. If you're driving a truck listening to us right now, honk your horn.
I was going to say, toot your horn. Yeah. Scare the hell out of the person in front of you. And
thank you, as usual, to everyone for subscribing on YouTube, listening to our podcast. We have now had approximately 6,500 downloads of our little show on your listening apps, such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Podbean, all that kind of fun stuff. So what's the Google one called? Whatever that is.
Don't know.
Google Podcasts, I guess. So thank you. Thank you.
It's great.
Let's launch straight into a show, shall we? What's your background doing tonight, Cameron?
My background is just got back the other day, 2 days ago, from the stunningly beautiful Bruny Island. Nice. The island off an island. And we went down there for one of my little famous OM Olympus days, OM systems. And this is a shot. Oh, there's me. I gotta get me out of there. This is a shot on the Cloudy Bay beach. And it was going really well, and then the wind really kicked up. So then we started getting all this movement of the sand across the, maybe an inch off the sand was blowing everywhere. So it was pretty cool. We had all these sort of lines leading away from the camera, and yeah, it was pretty cool. But we had a beautiful day out there. Spent the whole day there exploring the island, and yeah, thought it'd be nice to get down low. I was actually I reckon maybe 2 inches off the ground for that shot. Got down really low, and I used the really ultra wide 14mm lens just to get that real wide scape, and they're pretty cool. So
2 inches, you say? So you're just standing upright then?
I was. Yep, I was lying down actually.
Oh, right, there you go. Nice.
Yeah. And you standing on some stairs again?
It's what I do here in Ocean Grove. So Ocean Grove Beach is dotted with these little stairways down to the beach, and as you saw, Cam, when you were here. And this has fast become my most loved and hated set of stairs at the same time. Most loved because it generally points directly towards the sunrise, so you can get cool shots like that. Most hated because these are the very steps that I am exercising on to get ready for our overland track walk in April.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a love-hate relationship when it comes to these stairs, I can tell you that.
How's that all going? How are you feeling about the stair climbs, and how's the heart rate going, and how the quad's going? Your legs should be pretty good. You do a fair bit of cycling, or you used to.
I did. I haven't done a lot of cycling this year, but I'm doing a lot more walking. I've definitely notched up a lot of Ks. And this week we started doing those very stairs with packs on. So
a bit of weight in the back.
Yeah, half weight at the moment. So, which we will build up, of course, so we'll be down there tomorrow morning, actually, 6 a.m. We get on those stairs. Hence why I'm able to take photos like that.
Yeah.
And a little side note, that image there has become my most liked photo of all time through my Facebook page.
Even more than the Jesus kangaroo?
Ridiculous, right?
Wow.
It's, how sometimes you get a photo that goes viral? It just sort of takes off and gets shared all over the joint. Well, that's that one there. That's actually a cropped version. The actual version is vertical. I just cropped that in so I could be a background.
Right. Nice. Yeah. Speaking of viral, how you have the Facebook memories that pop up every, this happened 10 years ago, 5 years. 7 years ago this week, I shared a photo from Cape York. I went up to Cape York, and it was a waterfall picture. And Kenny Rogers, shared it on his photography page, because he used to be he was a photographer,
right.
And it went viral. It had like 100,000 shares and something stupid like that. So I got back into reception, and my phone was going off tap, and I'm like, what's going on here? And yeah, it was all good old Kenny Rogers. So
there you go. Well, did you know, fun fact, Kenny Rogers never used a tripod because he knew how to hold them.
I knew that was going to be
here all night. Yeah. Shocking.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah, I think we should move on from that.
We will. Your week, Cam, what is happening what's been going on this week, other than your background Bruny Island trip, obviously?
Yeah, so we did Bruny Island.
Did you see the Ash Hughes on Bruny Island, by the way?
I was he here? I didn't see him.
the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, apparently he was at Bruny Island. I was there. He wasn't there. He was going to catch up. Didn't see him. Didn't see him on East Coast. Didn't see him at Cradle. So
He's really
obviously
gone off grid, hasn't he?
Well, I think, he's got a bit of a YouTube following now. I think it's sort of going to his head a bit. I think he's sort of maybe a little bit better than us. And I doubt he'll ever co-host the show again. I think he's a bit bigger than us now. So
didn't want to catch up with the plebs, did he?
No, he just didn't want to associate with us down at this level. So anyway, so I went to Bruny Island. Yeah, it was great. Awesome. And we had a full day there. And then tomorrow, so we're recording on Tuesday night, tomorrow morning, first light, I fly down to Melaleuca, which is right in the very southwest corner of Tasmania, down near a place called Bathurst Harbour. Not that corner, the other corner. And so we fly there for a 3-day camp. So we glamp in this little beautiful Melaleuca forest. And then every day we have this, we have a pilot and a boat pilot and a cook, and they take us out every day in this boat and we go explore this whole harbour, and plenty of wildlife, and it's a stunning place. So really excited about this one. This one was actually postponed from November last year due to weather. So we're chomping at the bit to get down there. So we take off tomorrow and get back. I'll get back probably just in time for when this is released. So
awesome. Very good. That sounds like fun.
It should be fun. And have you got a tan? Did you get a tan where you've been, or
probably? Because I preach to my kids all the time, sunscreen, and I don't. Back from Queensland, 4 days up there, which was fantastic. My lovely niece Alina's wedding, which was brilliant, right on the beach. Well, not physically on the sand, but overlooking the main beach in Noosa, which was brilliant. It was quite cool actually, because I got to see the photographers at work. So it's a bit of a wedding factory there. There's like spots for weddings all the way along, and there was another wedding going on at the same time, and I got to see their photographer at work. And of course, I'm naturally drawn to watching how the photographers do things. I've seen our friend Ash Hughes at work at a friend's wedding as well, and it's just it's cool to sort of sit back and watch the pressure that they're under through them, and and not feeling it yourself, but understanding that they're there. And my niece's photographer was fantastic. She was very communicative. She spoke a lot. She talked to us a lot and very directive. And, she was giving us lots of direction and stuff, which was great. Yeah. Not that I appeared in. I think I made the cut on one photo, maybe 2 photos. So.
Right. It is. I've been to a few weddings, obviously, and you see the photographer working there, and I'm the same. You're watching me like, oh, I'd probably be over that side now, or I'd be down there, or that's a good spot. Yeah. They're in a good spot there. That's I didn't think about that. Or, they're taking like these little macro shots of things on the tables, and you're like, oh, I've never done that before. So
I think the upside for Alina was that the girl was from Noosa Heads, and she knew she'd done umpteen weddings there, knew exactly what the light was doing. So it was great. It was a very, very good 4 days away with the fam bam, and now we're back to reality. So, and I didn't even take a camera with me. Well, other than my phone, I didn't take a real camera with me.
It's funny how you do that. Sometimes you just need to not take a camera, but it's really hard not to sometimes.
Oh, it's difficult for me. I always want to take one. There's a couple of reasons I didn't. One, it's a family holiday, and if I take the camera, I generally want to sneak off and shoot a sunrise or a sunset, which sort of gets me away from the fam. And also, number 2, we just had carry-on luggage for this one, so we didn't want to add extra weight. You get your 7 kilos, and away you go.
Perfect. Yeah, it sounds like you had a good time. It's awesome.
It was grouse. Main topic for discussion this week, Cam.
Where are we going with this one?
So, a little bit about last week's episode 68, which was AI can go bleep itself. Please no swear words tonight, Cam. I can't be bothered.
Hey! It was you last week as well. Don't forget.
True, but you started it. It's been interesting, the comments. I mean, to be frank, not as much of a reaction as I thought we'd get, to be honest.
And I don't
whether or not it's because the horse is already bolted and all this information's already out there.
I don't know. We would certainly not do things for clickbait. We wouldn't pick up topics to try and get people to like and listen and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. But I think, I mean, in a way, I'm actually really happy with the output of what that last episode did, because I was expecting a lot more. Like there was actually some really great comments on the YouTube channel. There's some really insightful. insightful. I can't. We'll make a word up.
Sure.
That was like, the comments were incredible. Like there was some really good thought goes into some of those comments. But on the flip side, I'm like, oh well, that didn't really, didn't really sort of kick off as much as what we thought might happen in the conversation on the feedback there. But in a way, I'm glad it didn't, because what that means is that this whole episode around this AI image hasn't really caught traction for the people that did it. So yes, it was in news.com, and yes, it was on the Australian Photography Magazine podcast or website or wherever they might have put it on, but it's died off really quick. Like there doesn't seem to be any further controversy around it, which I think is great. So to credit to everyone who may have listened to the episode or read the article or got involved in some way. I think people have just gone, yeah, it's AI, it's going to happen, but I'm not getting involved with it. It's not something I want to touch. It's not real photography. And we can move on. So I thought it was pretty good how people reacted to it.
Yeah, I think in general the comments followed our thoughts. When you look on DigiDirect's social posts, if you look on, I think even the company who we won't name who made the image, if you read, they got a lot of very, very negative feedback from people like us.
They did. There was some comments on there that. Yeah,
and a lot of it justified and a lot of it indefensible. They were basically coming back and using the excuse of, it was an experiment. We just wanted to see. Yeah, I don't think so. I think you knew exactly what you were doing, and it was to get eyeballs, which kind of worked, but negative eyeballs, which probably isn't great.
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about this, and I can sort of relate a little bit to this company that did what they did, because I had a bit of an issue a few years ago when I created the hairy Tog character that went out there and sort of started picking muck at all the funny things that photographers do, and that escalated very quickly out of control. And hand on heart, my original thought about that was to have a little bit of fun, but also bring some awareness to how comments can upset people, or how photography's a subjective art where you don't have to worry about what other people think. So I can see how it escalated pretty quickly for this mob, and how it so easily can go to the positive or the negative, based on the first few comments. If those first few comments are all, oh, that's amazing, AI is incredible, I love it, it's really good, then the whole swing might have gone to being more positive. But I think, like I said, I think people were not happy because there's just no need for it. Yes, you can use your AI and create your incredible landscapes and stuff like that, but to go ahead and enter it into a competition hoping that it would cause controversy, I think that was just the wrong way to go about it. But I don't think that'll stop them doing what they're doing. But one thing it has now brought to light so much, like since it's happened, every single image now I see on Instagram or Facebook, I go, oh, that's good, that's impressive. Is it AI? Could be. Yeah. No idea. Right. We'll put it up on the screen. I'm going to make you work for this for a second, but we'll put it up on the screen. Brendan just goes, but there was a shot.
Brendan's got to make notes of what time this is in the podcast.
And that's okay. It's about 13 minutes in.
It's on the screen.
It's on the screen. So there's this picture on the screen, which is a snow leopard on top of this snowy mountain range. It's out in the middle of back of nowhere, Bangladesh, or somewhere in the mountains in the middle of nowhere. And it's got this incredible, bit like your sunset behind you, this incredible sunset, this beautiful snow-capped mountain, and this snow leopard right in front of this trail camera looking back at the camera. It's an incredible shot, and a lot of people have probably seen it. But the first thing I thought was, wow, that's a bloody good shot. And then the second thing I thought was, is it a good shot? Oh, bless you. Is it a good shot, or is it AI, or what is it? So, yeah, if anything, it's caused some doubt going forward. And I think you hit the nail on the head last week when you said every photo competition now is going to be absolutely ripped to shreds in regards to. Oh, wow!
There you go.
Maybe you're allergic to AI.
So for those of you who didn't hear that, I just sneezed twice, and hopefully I've edited my own sneeze out there. But we'll see how it goes.
You're giving yourself a lot more work than you need to.
But
anyway. but I think you hit the nail on the head last week when you said that. That the photo competitions now are going to be really scrutinized a lot. Because of this, which maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still jury well and truly out.
Yeah.
I've spoken with a couple of people who agreed with one of the things I had to say, and that is if you go online to these sites that can create these photorealistic images via AI, after about the third or fourth one, it gets really boring. It's like I'd probably rather actually go out and take photos. Thanks. So
yeah, that's right. Like that's really, I think that's what it came back to in the crux of it all, is that it's cool. Okay, yeah, you've done well to to create that, but as we said last week as well, it doesn't replace the feeling of actually taking that shot and getting that shot and getting the feeling of creating that amazing moment, as we sometimes do. So it was an interesting conversation. It was good.
Yeah, while it just popped into my mind just now, the fact that you don't use a camera, you just use the keyboard. There's no sort of tool there, sort of triggered this as well. I'm now in the throes of working out what lenses I need to take with me on this overland track, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And it's like, well, if we go full AI, like those kind of things, that's all going to disappear as well. It's just going to be this weird sort of black hole where the excitement of gear is going to go, which I love. It's a cool thing looking at gear, and it's just another element that's going to disappear.
I having live in a family where my wife and brother-in-law are quite heavily graphic artists, sort of in the way they are. I can definitely see the incredible skill and incredible power of AI that can help create these real sort of amazing pictures and graphics and designs and stuff like that. But in regards to photography, like, I think you're 100% right. Like, what's the point of being a photographer if you're not going to go out and take a photograph? Like, it defeats the whole purpose. So yes, it'll have its own category somewhere. It'll have its own space in the art world. But it's not a photography art.
It would be like playing St Andrews in a simulator, and every hole you get an eagle or a birdie. For free. It's ridiculous. There's no Anyway, we banged on a lot about it in the last episode. We've already taken up a few minutes in this episode as well. So I'll move on. I think we should move on.
One more thing before we move on, because I always do that. I've had a few people actually reach out and said, are you going to get this company on the podcast and have a chat? Because on the Australian Photography magazine, they were saying that they were happy to have a chat after this all happened. Just a disclaimer, we haven't heard a thing. We haven't been approached. We're not approaching them. We haven't been approached to have them on the show. If they do choose to reach out, then that's something we'll consider. But at the moment, no. They can stay as per T-shirt.
That's exactly right. So now, probably our main topic for episode 69 of the Down South Photo Show. Can you learn photography from YouTube, or is it just a deep hole of misinformation and opinions? Now, I get asked a lot through my business. I want to learn photography. I want to, and of course, the first thing I do is direct them towards the workshops that I run and the workshops that you and I run. More about our workshops later in this episode, by the way. Stick around. Yes. And I quite often do recommend YouTube. And the number one reason I recommend YouTube is because it's free. Now, because YouTube...
Apart from all the ads.
Well, it's free in inverted commas. Yeah. And it's easy. I mean, you can sit down at your iPad and you can start watching a tutorial on, a tutorial on aperture, for example. And you can literally pause the lecture, pause the teacher, and do what they tell you, and then push play again, which I think is invaluable.
Yeah,
I find a lot of people will watch a YouTube instructional video from beginning to end and then go, "What the hell?" I think it's really, if you interact with it in that way, it can be really good. The problem, of course, is there is a lot of misinformation out there, and you could probably find 50,000 videos on aperture alone. Yeah. Well, is there one right video? Probably not.
Yeah.
What I encourage people to do, though, is to find someone you like listening to, and someone who you feel like a bit of a connection with. Yeah. Like you, Cameron. That's right.
Like us. Yeah, us collectively. Look, I think I sometimes rag out YouTube a little bit, but I'm with you, though. I think the ones that are their instructional videos, so The ones where it is, hey, this is how the rule of thirds work, or this is how aperture works and shutter, all that kind of stuff. The ones that are actually instructional, I find are really good. Where I think people get a little bit confused and a little bit lost, and I hear this a lot in my workshops, is that they come in and they're like, oh yeah, but I watched Thomas Heaton and he did this, and I watched Ben Horn and he did this, and I watched Photo Tripper and he did this, and I watched this person and they did this, and I just can't figure it out. I think people need to differentiate between the instructional videos that are purely there, and usually they're run by either the camera brand themselves or a pretty well-known photographer that is in the workshop world altogether. So I think people need to differentiate between those videos that are actually probably going to teach you something about photography versus the ones that are more entertainment, where, you know, like the ones where they go on their assignments, or they go out into the snow, or they're hiking somewhere, or they're in a van going around the world or whatever, where it's almost an episode of what they're doing, a bit like what Ash is doing, you know, in regards to his videos.
Definitely Thomas Heaton, he's like that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And definitely they chuck some tips in there. But I find, and it's quite funny in a way, because you get people come on workshops, and, you know, we're all fairly brand loyal. Like, we hang shit on Canon and Nikon and Sony and all the other brands. And we get on workshops and people are like, oh, I got a Nikon and I got a Canon, and I got a Sony and Olympus, the whole lot, Fuji. And then people start saying, oh yeah, but I watch Thomas Heaton, but I watch Photo Tripper, or no, I watch the other guy or this other guy. And there's almost this playoff between these internet celebrities who are photographers as to who's right or who's wrong. And I think as it says, it's a deep hole. And I think maybe misinformation a little bit, but opinions, I think definitely, where, you know, we can all shoot scenes differently. But yeah, I don't know. It can have its purpose, YouTube, but then I think you've just got to stop yourself from going down the entertainment value side of things, and maybe
it's a classic case of infotainment, where where someone like Thomas Heaton, who I quite enjoy his videos. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but I certainly enjoy his videos. I think it's mainly to do with the fact that he's in Scotland a lot, which is the Lake District and these places in the UK, which just look incredible to photograph. But what he does well, he's quite a good storyteller, which is great. But he also sort of immerses the viewer in what he's trying to accomplish that day with his photos. So he'll be in an area. Recently, he's been doing a lot of stuff in the snow in Scotland. They've had a lot of blizzards and that sort of stuff, which is pretty spectacular stuff to photograph. And he talks about his frustrations where he can't get an image, and, you know, what he has to do, what he has to go through to achieve the look or the image that he's wanting to go through. And that invariably just gives off tips left, right, and center. But he does it in such a way where he's not preaching to you and not teaching you per se, but he's walking his way through a scene and how he would achieve that. And for me, I think that's a way I like to teach as well, is if I get to a location, I look at it and go, how would I photograph this? Well, let's walk my student through how I would do it and bring them with me. And if they're doing the same things that I'm doing side by side, that's great. But also leave the door open for variation and their own flair.
I agree. Like, I find I can't sit through, and I think Thomas Heaton does a good job, because he has about 15 minutes, and that's about my attention span. Any more than that, and I'm like, all right, double tap, get 15 seconds, double tap, 15 seconds. But when I watch Thomas Heaton, I don't feel like he's trying to force feed you information as such. Like you said, he throws in a few tips through his perspective. Like, this is what I was trying to achieve, and I think that's very helpful. But I think that what I think people struggle with sometimes is if everyone subscribes to these massive channels, and, you know, every week or two they're getting, you know, all, you know, maybe 5 or 6 different episodes on all different types of photography. And there's a lot of information in there, even though they're not necessarily spewing it down your throat the whole way. There's a lot of information that people take away from those videos. And if you're not at a level where you understand the basics of photography, then going out and trying to do what these guys do on YouTube is going to probably confuse you more than, you know, if you had a bit more of an idea of the basics. So they're great. Like I said, they're infotainment, which is fantastic. But I think if you're wanting to learn photography via YouTube, I think the safer bet is to go to the more established educational type of channels. And not so much, by all means, watch the entertainment ones and enjoy them. But if you really, like you said, you can sit there and pause and go practice depth of field or something like that, and then come back. And, you know, those ones where they're sort of step by step, this is what it does and this is how it helps you. I think they're a lot more beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. The Photo Tripper, for example, again, by association, it gives you a lesson along the way. But of course, his whole angle is just pure comedy.
That's pure piss take. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's very good at what he does. That's for sure. Like, we get a laugh out of him. I get a laugh out of him.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that, because we approached him to come on the show, and maybe this year he will.
Yes.
He has not committed, but he has indicated that maybe this year he might.
Gavin's watching for sure. He's one of those dudes that watches but hasn't subscribed.
Yeah. How many of those do we have? We have lots of them, wouldn't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Well, if you're not subscribed to the channel, folks, what's going on?
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. We'll pause for a couple of seconds just so you can go and do it. Go.
Do what now?
Subscribe. Just waiting for people to subscribe. Just waiting.
Right. Okay. You're telling the listeners that we're pausing so they can go and subscribe.
Yeah, that's fine. They should have done it by now. So anyway, I sometimes watch Photo Trippers episodes, and I get frustrated sometimes because there's little things that he does, and I'm like, oh, really? I wouldn't have done that. I would have done it this way. Or, you know, some of the photo settings that he has flash up on the screen in the corner, I'm like, really? You shot that at f6.3?
Yeah, that's right.
Weird. So, and I think that's one of those things where people can get a bit confused, because they look at these professional photographers who do these amazing shots, and they've just been watching another YouTube clip where they say, you know, f11, f16 gives you a major depth of field.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they see the settings pop up on the next person's channel saying this landscape was shot at f4, and they're like, well, hang on a sec, why are they doing that? Not doing that. I think the answer to most people's questions about would you learn photography on YouTube is yes, you will, but you're better off booking a workshop with us or someone similar, and actually going out physically, and so you can actually bounce 1,000 questions off the instructor as much as you want.
I think it's a classic case of you can only break the rules once you know them.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, you've got to set the ground. Now, so I for example, I run an entry-level photography workshop. We don't even go out in the field. It is in my shop. It's the most popular workshop I run, and we literally crawl before we can walk, before we can run, and we do that within a space of 2.5 hours in one workshop, where we get people, even the simple things of how to hold your camera.
Yeah,
people do it wrong. They do it wrong from the get-go. So I like to give them that foundation to begin with. No, this is how you should be doing it. This is how you should stand when you take your photos. This is how you should look through the viewfinder. All that really simple stuff that people take for granted, and they think they already know how to do it. They don't know how to do it, particularly beginners. In fact, I've had some people who are quite experienced photographers come to that entry-level workshop, and I've raised a few eyebrows and like, okay, I've been doing that wrong this whole time. Yeah. so really, this guy's going to show me how to hold a camera? Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, right.
The one that gets me all the time is when people come along to the workshops and they, you know, we generally hold our camera like that, and then you play with the lens. The ones that do that one, where they do where they focus over the top of the lens, not from under the lens.
Right. Yeah. Or they hold their big expensive SLR like a phone, and they hold it like that.
Yeah.
And, well, and I was like, what are you doing? The lens is over here.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because a good friend of the show, Jamie, who's a good friend from down here, who came to Bruni, he uses a Canon, I think, EOS Mark 5D, whatever the hell they call, Mark 700 or something. And the last few times we've been out shooting, it does my head in, and we're friends, so I can say to hang shielding. But like he doesn't actually put his camera up to his eye, his viewfinder up to his eye. He holds his big giant Canon out using the screen. I'm like, dude, use the viewfinder. It's so much easier. You know, you get a better grip, you get better stability, you actually get better framing because there's not all this junk on the screen. And it's a bit of an ongoing joke. So Jamie, if you're listening, for Christ's sake, mate, put your viewfinder up to your face.
Correction, you were friends.
We were friends. Well, he's coming on the overland track, so
very good. So he's the one that's going to be carrying my bag. Okay,
great. Yeah. Well, he's thinking of taking a 100 to 400 Canon. Yep, that's what I said.
So what, instead of a tent?
Pretty much.
All right. Well, he's not. My tent is big enough for 1.5 people. So if he's quite svelte, he can keep me warm.
No, he's fairly tall. He's you and him snuggle up pretty well. But
okay, great.
So so I don't know. What did we get out of that? Like, are we telling people to go learn off YouTube, or are we telling them to not?
I think be very selective. YouTube is a behemoth. It's an absolute monster. I find some YouTube channels I find really frustrating where they they use clickbait to get the, learn aperture in 3 simple steps, and then they rave on for like 7 or 8 minutes about not aperture at all and some other crap and the history of cameras and blah blah blah. So can you just show me the thing? I'm here to see the thing. Can you show me the thing?
Get to the point.
And then,
Get to the point. Yeah.
So that's where it can. And you're right, ads and stuff, and that can all be frustrating.
You know what? You know what shits me to tears? Here's another. No, I'm not gonna bleep it, but it's very close to being bleeped, and it's everywhere. Squarespace. Get stuffed. I don't give a shit about Squarespace building a website for me. This episode is sponsored by Squarespace.
Yes.
I think that James Popsis. They're all of them. It's all sponsored by
Thomas Eaton.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about Squarespace.
Yeah,
don't care.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace.
So if anyone from Squarespace is watching, we don't care.
Yeah,
you don't need to put ads on there. Just go away.
Thank you, Squarespace, for looking after my website needs for the last 5 years. I appreciate you.
Do you use?
Yes, I do. I absolutely do.
There's another episode. What platform do you use to build a photography website? So.
Now, one YouTuber who we talked about infotainment and who is very, very good at it is the Down South Photo Show's very own Ben Horn.
Yes.
Now, if you're looking, he actually calls it clickbait and advert-free content.
Yeah.
And he's totally right. Now, with his stuff, if you are what I would like to call it intermediate photographer, so you know the basics, you've maybe been on a few workshops, that sort of stuff, tune into Ben Horn. We'll link him below. His stuff is I find his stuff almost cathartic to watch. His delivery, he's got a beautiful voice for his voiceovers. And the way he walks the viewer through his day and through what he's looking for in a photo, and then to actually see the payoff and see the images. And he's very honest about it as well, where he will say, that didn't work. I'm showing it to you anyway, which is gutsy. And he's like, I don't like this photo, but he ends up showing it to you, which is really cool. Yeah. And he immerses you in Zion, for example, the places.
Well, I'm going to reach out to Ben for this year when I go to Zion. I'm going to see if I can catch up with him, buy him a coffee or beer or whatever he has.
You could do a show together over there, and I could be your host.
Yeah, maybe.
Your guest.
You guessed. But the thing I like about Ben as well, like one, he shoots film, so it's a lot more traditional, which obviously sort of suits what I like. But even like you said, at the end, he shows you the results, good, bad, or ugly. But in the last few episodes, he's actually been using some expired film that's out of date, which has actually been having a major effect on his results. But any normal person would say, I'm not going to show that, or I'm not even going to say I'm using old film or something like that. But he puts it all out there. So, what you see is what you get. But yeah, he does a wonderful job. As we know, we met him that time. He's a lovely guy, and his journeys. He's whenever I see one of his episodes come out, it's the only YouTube show, apart from our own, of course, that I would put on a big screen and watch. Have a hot chocolate and watch it before I go to bed or something like that. And because it's one of those things that just look good big on screen. So he does a great job. So yeah, agree. Definitely, anyone who hasn't checked him out, Ben Horn. He's on YouTube. I think he's got some Death Valley videos coming out pretty soon as well.
Awesome. And the other one who I like to watch is Nick Carver as well, which I think you've seen him before as well.
Yeah,
a little bit different to Ben Horn. In fact, completely different to Ben Horn. Not even really. It doesn't shoot a lot of landscape. Shoots a lot of architecture, but also shoots on film. Another one worth checking out. Look. To answer the question, can you learn photography from YouTube? Yes, you can, but you got to do some digging. And there's a bit of effort involved in finding the answers to your questions sufficiently and efficiently.
I think the other thing as well, which I see shine through a lot, is that people are in such a hurry to learn so much. And I think that, okay, if I spend a weekend on YouTube, I can become a professional photographer at the end of it. And there's absolutely no rush to be the best photographer you can be. It is actually a journey. Like, it's not, if you can pick up the camera and make nice photos straight off the bat, then you're doing really well, and it's kudos to you for doing it. But it really should be a journey that changes with, I know my photography's changed just based on me getting older. Like, I look at things differently. I got a bit more, world smarts about me. I've got a bit more wise over the years. I've had a bit more experience and stuff like that. So my photos from 20 years ago to now are all evolving into who I am, really. So don't be in a hurry to just jump on YouTube and learn everything in a week. Give yourself a good couple of years to start really nailing those things that you need to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic case of what is it, 40,000 hours? No, not that many. What is it? Is a thing where you become an expert at something is it 10,000 hours or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Photography is definitely one of those, where, as Cam said, you might already have an eye, the composition eye, which is brilliant and a real asset, but the technical side of stuff might be letting you down. Well, get started on that 10,000 hours and you'll be a professional.
Yeah. Well, that's funny you say that as well, because that young guy I was teaching, Oscar, who I've mentioned a few times, he just put up a photo down here in Hobart on the weekend. They had a wooden boat festival. So all these beautifully handcrafted boats all around Constitution Dock where the Sydney to Hobart finishes. And it was just an array of wooden boats, colours, flags, the whole lot. And he snapped off a shot the other morning of these two little rowboats, different coloured rowboats. It's a stunning, stunning image. I've heavily encouraged him to go out and try and sell his image for it. But he's 12, 13 years old. Like, he hasn't had any of the world experience that you and I have had. He hasn't been shooting anywhere near as long as we've had, but he's got an eye. He sees things really well and he's editing it really well. But, he'll still grow as a photographer over the years, and, he'll probably change his approach to how he does things. For a young bloke, he's like a jack in a beanstalk, jack in a beanbag. He doesn't stand still.
He's a jack in the box.
Jack in a box. I'm struggling today. He's a jack in a box. We've been out a few times, and I'll set up to do one shot. He's on to his 10th already. He just goes. So
kids,
kids. That's right. He'll learn to slow down. But as well, check out Oscar Merchant on Instagram. Oscar Merchant. He's got some really great stuff for a young bloke, and really cool to see.
Nice, cool. All right, moving right along. Tip of the week. Don't sing it. My very very short and simple tip of the week this week. We like to keep tip of the week nice and short and simple, and that is to plan ahead. So, for example, when I head down to the beach here to do photography, I will look, when is the sunset going to be? When is the sunrise going to be? Where is the sun going to rise? Where is the sun going to set? Even simple things like tide times make a big difference to me where I am, and to everyone. Things like the phases of the moon can make a big difference as well. So, for example, when we are out at Lake Tyrrell, there's not going to be a moon. So that's actually going to be pretty cool for astrophotography. There will be a moon. We just won't see it. It's not going to disappear.
No. You've heard all these stories of the alien crafts flying over the US at the moment. There's a lot of weird stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. So hopefully we'll see a couple. That'd be cool.
It would be cool. But yeah, you're right. Plan ahead. I'm still a strong believer that there's a couple of simple things you can do to really excel your photography. And one of them is planning ahead. Don't get to where Brendan is down at the beach for a sunset at lunchtime. Not going to happen. And say it's
an extreme example, Cameron.
But that's the thing. Like, some people ask, like, how do you get all that color, or how does the light get so nice?
Yeah. Well, I get my ass out of bed at a ridiculous hour.
Oh, I was there at sunrise. Oh, I didn't get there till 10 o'clock. Well, there you go. The light's completely different. Same thing, tides and moon phases and directions of sun. The sun moves at every season, so it might set at a different spot at each season. But yeah, the simple thing is just plan ahead, and it'll save you a heap of headaches. You're not going to be sprinting from the car to try and get a shot when the light's going off. You'll be there already set up, ready to go, and it just makes the whole experience a bit more pleasant.
Absolutely. So plan ahead. Briefly, a little bit about some gear that was launched this week from OM Systems. We do talk about OM Systems a lot, mainly because Cam shoots on OM System, and I've just recently acquired an OM5. But coincidentally, they also released their new 90mm macro. Cam, is it f2.8?
It is f2.8.
I'd just like to stop the podcast there and let everyone know that it is not, in fact, f2.8. This lens is f3.5. So just to clear up, this is an f3.5 lens, not an f2.8. If we say f2.8 again, we are wrong. It is actually an f3.5. Back to the show. Lovely little macro.
Yeah, and it's one of the pro lenses, and it has the weather sealing and image stabilizer as well.
So the pro lenses from OM System use their Zuko glass. Is that right?
They do. Yep.
Yes. So it's very high quality crystal glass, probably grown in a laboratory, which is awesome. So it minimizes flaws and things like that. Comes with the interesting price tag of a tick over $2,000.
Yes.
Value for money there, Cam?
Look, I haven't physically had a go at it. It looks quite big for what it is. So 90 mil in OM system is the equivalent of 180 mil. So it's quite a long lens to start with. But I think so. It's definitely a specialized area that people want to get into, macro. They do double up as a pretty nice portrait lens as well.
They definitely do.
And generally the macro lenses have higher end glass or glass coatings on them. So they are very good for macro and portrait. But I think that price range might be a tad high, but it'll probably come down over the few months and once they start getting them in. But they come out, I think, next week.
Awesome.
So yeah, that should be good. I know there's a lot of people down here in Tassie who shoot their fungi and all their little Fagus leaves. All that
well, we've talked a lot about macro lenses on the show for it being another option when, for example, the weather conditions might not suit landscape. You can grab out your macro lens and keep on photographing.
That's it.
You're not hamstrung by having to shoot wide angle or using a telephoto lens. You might want to get a real ultra close up of those grains of sand on that beach behind Cam there. And that's where a macro, it can quench a thirst when you're a bit thirsty for a good photo, but the conditions are a bit frustrating.
Yeah, look, macro is a wonderful little thing that you can get into. But you're right, it's a different world that you're working in. So I think that's pretty cool. This is not on the running sheet, but I saw something pop up the other day, and I know we don't really speak much about Canon.
We do speak a lot about Canon.
We speak in not great terms, but they've also just released a camera.
Been shooting with Canon for the last few years.
Well, there you go. So they've released a Canon R8, which has come out. Good. I think that's come out now. I think it's sort of a mid-rangey sort of thing, from what I understand. So it's full frame. What else? It's got 30 megapixels, 12 frames a second.
Well, 30 megapixel will put it right in the mid-range for their sensor size.
And it looks like it's built to do a bit of speed and stuff like that, and high-end video, which is good. I think there's a new Nikon Z8 coming out at some stage this year. So we might vary away a little bit from OM systems as stuff starts coming out. There's new Fuji's coming out.
Awesome.
The Sony A.
Keep an ear out for gear talk as we move on through the show, guys. I think the R8, though, my understanding, I would say replaces the R7, but that was the old, back in the EOS days, the 7D. So you had your 00 series, so your 500D, 600D, 700D, 800, 900D. Did they get to 900? I'm not sure they did. And then they had their 50D, 60D, 70D, and they had 4 different cameras. The one up from that was the 7D.
Yes.
And I actually took a 7D for a run years ago and absolutely loved it. I loved the build quality and the way it fit my oversized novelty hands. It's a really steady base to shoot from.
Right.
I've still actually got the original lens that I had with that camera. It was their 17-85. It was a good little kit. But it was never full frame, the 7D. And then they went ahead and then you jump up to their 5D series, which was phenomenal. The original 5D was a needle mover in photography because it was a relatively cheap full frame camera. So they're 5D, 5D2, 5D3, 5D Mark IV, which they are still selling. Great outfits. And the R series, I think, is slots just below their pro range, but above their pro enthusiast range, if you like.
Here's a little tip for people that might not realize, but in most camera brands, the smaller the number of in the title of the camera, the higher the quality or the higher the professional standard of that camera. So, for example, the EOS 1 is the top line, the OM 1's the top line, the Z, whatever it is, and the Nikon's the top line. Maybe the Sonys are different as well. I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure with Nikon. I think Nikon might have broken that mold.
They might have gone out.
The other way. I think the Z9 is now their top of the line.
Yeah, I think it is. The A1 in the Sony. So if you're not sure what to look for and you're sort of just searching around camera brands and camera names, generally if you look at the number, the smaller that number, the higher the rating and professionalism of that camera you would assuming most, maybe not Nikon, but
And-
Nikon, their lenses come off back to front too. So
That's right. And generally the bigger loan you have to take out to buy the thing.
That's right. You'll need a couple of extra kidneys.
So. Our very popular segment, Dear Cam. We don't have a Dear Cam question this week. However, we always like to mention Dear Cam.
So popular, we don't have one.
If you have a Dear Cam question, please send it to us. Comment below. Send it to us via email, via comment, via link, via courier pigeon, smoke signals, whatever takes your fancy.
All right. Cool. Well, we need the last one we had was a bit of a doozy with the Lightroomy backup-y thing.
Was it ever?
So yeah, if you got a question, maybe you might have a question about, Canon cameras or Nikon. Maybe send us something that's a bit left field. We'll try and BS our way through it.
Absolutely. Now, just a little bit of homework, bit of housekeeping for the Down South Photo Show. Our Down South Photo Show workshops, which we have coming up on King's birthday long weekend here in Victoria, Australia, June 10th and 11th. The June 10th one on the Saturday has sold out now. So thank you for everyone who's coming along to that. The one on the 11th, which is the Sunday, still has places available.
That has around about half a dozen spots left, I think, at time of recording.
Okay.
But yeah, come along to that one. That would be pretty cool. It'd be good fun.
Yeah. And the Murray to Mallee workshop is now up and available. So, which we talked about last week. That's the one that runs from the 12th of October in Swan Hill up on the mighty Murray River. Pretty excited about that one. It's our first multi-day workshop. So
yeah, I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to that one. Excuse me. Yeah, that's out there. That's ready to go. We've got a couple of places being purchased. There's a lot of, I see the back end of my website, so I see where people go. And there's actually been quite a lot of people look at this workshop behind the scenes. So I'm pretty confident that we'll sell this one out as well, which would be absolutely amazing. Super excited. I think I think we're going to set a bit of a theme for these workshops we do, you and I, Brendan, because we know each other so well and we get on fairly well most of the time. I think they're just going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of learning, a lot of really cool photos getting taken, but just a lot of laughs and a lot of banter. And so, yeah, if you want to come along, have a really good time, hang out with like-minded people, get away from your partner for a few days, or they can get rid of you for a few days. Jump on the website. There's a link in the description below.
In the description.
And then we can get you on there. So October 12th through to whatever it is, 4 days after that.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got, I think the important thing to note is, yes, they're a lot of fun, which is going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to that as well. But also basically wall-to-wall knowledge. So, for the whole time you're there, you've got access to Cam and myself, and no question is off the table.
Yeah, unless you shoot Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fuji, then maybe. But no, you're right. Like, I actually think it's one of the best things that I love about my job is, and I don't know, maybe it's that little endorphin hit we talk about that people like when they get a like online, but the fact that people are willing to part with their hard-earned to come and suck as much knowledge off me on a workshop, I actually really love that. I think it's an incredible feeling that people want to pay for your professionalism and your knowledge and stuff like that. So yeah, nothing's off limits. Like, we're not going to turn around and say, well, this is how you could take that shot. This is how I would take it, but I'm not going to show you how to do that. But this is how you could take it. There's no secrets. We want you guys to walk away with not only the same shots we get, but also, as much knowledge as we can download into you in the 4 days that we're there. So
absolutely. And just as a little aside, I'll be basically going up and mapping out that entire workshop in the next few weeks. So having a look around
from the golf course.
No. And and I'll have a few photos to share, to show a few more photos than you can see on the website. So you can see exactly what you're going to be in for. So that'll be grouse.
It'll be grouse. And just a final note on that, that's a fully inclusive tour, that one. So we all meet in Swan Hill, we bus you around, we feed you, we teach you, we go everywhere. So you just pay a fee and we look after the rest.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Now, you are off tomorrow on another big adventure, which is very, very cool.
Yes, I am.
So down to the south. Where are you going? Southwest.
Southwest. So Melaleuca.
Awesome. That's right.
Anyway, you can pause, if you want to pause this YouTube clip and go to your Google Maps and then look at Hobart and just head west from there, and you'll see there's a little place called Melaleuca and a big Bathurst harbour. I'll be there or you could type it in.
Or you could wait 3 minutes and then this will be over. And you can do it.
You could do it. Yeah.
Well, roughly. Yeah.
Don't we need to get more people at the end, like hanging around? So we get them.
Oh, that's
pausing.
right. Exactly. Yeah. That's right. We can't have the graph falling off. The algorithm gets upset. One of us on this screen has a birthday this coming week. Now we all know that I've had mine because I raised the bat. So it's not me. Oh, he's not there anymore. He's gone. Happy birthday for next week, Cam.
Thank you. Yes, 44. I'm not getting any closer to you because you'll keep moving.
No, you're catching up. That's what we all say. You stop at 50. You hit 50 and that's it. Stay 50.
50. My wife hasn't. She's been 34 for the last 10 years, I reckon.
Wow. Funny about that.
Yeah. So birthday on Sunday. So thank you. I'll be in Melbourne, up there with family and friends, and chilling out, and then back into the swing of things.
Awesome. Very cool. Myself, I will be nose to the grindstone, working hard at the shops, which is
how's that Torquay shop going?
I've still got it, and it's funny, isn't it? When you decide that you might want to offload something, it starts to please don't get rid of me, and
So the little carrot keeps getting dangled out in front.
Correct. It's been a very productive week at the Torquay store, which is great. So awesome. That's excellent. I'm still getting rid of it though.
Excellent. Don't forget to subscribe to
on how that goes.
Don't forget to subscribe. We're at 388. We'd love to see it pop up to 400 for my birthday. We could do 444.
You know what we haven't done on the show for quite some time?
A giveaway.
Correct.
What are you giving
away? Maybe when we hit 400, we'll do a giveaway.
People don't listen this far in.
No one's listening now. It's just you and me talking crap.
I'll give someone $1 million. No. If we get to
that'll get replayed.
I'll tell you what, if we get to 400 subscribers, I'll give away one of the new Cradle Mountain books.
Oh, now that's nothing to be sneezed at.
No, well, you've sneezed twice in this episode, so
that's true. And I've got a Cradle Mountain book. You gave me one for my birthday. Thank you.
There you go. No
it's awesome. I love it. By the way, it's on display in the shop, and I've already had a couple of people go, "What's that all about?" And I've told them. So
there's a QR code on the back.
That's right. You could just go and get your own copy.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. This has been. Are you done, Cameron?
I'm waiting for you to say this has been episode.
We do this every time, don't we? This has been episode 69 of the Down South Photo Show. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, Brendan. It's been a pleasure seeing you once again.
We shall see you for episode 70 probably next week.
Episode 70. Wow.
We're getting up there, aren't we? All right. Bye for now.
See you later.
Oh, I nearly just hit end meeting and killed the whole thing.
Oh, well, that would have been stupid, wouldn't it?
Yes.